for time's sake. I'm waiting.
Without objection. I wanted to object, though, John.
I hope one of the... Yeah, I know what you're up to. And thank you for your statement at the press conference today. We must move this legislation. The Navy will not be able to meet its requirements on naval vessels without a strong commercial sector to work side by side with it. The legislation that we put forward with the SHIPS Act provides for the men and women that will build commercial ships for the maritime industry, but also for the Navy ships. And it'll bring into it the unions and others that are going to be absolutely essential. Mr. Carmel, you spoke earlier about the need for cargo. None of this works without cargo. In the SHIPS Act, there is what is known as the Energizing Section, which will bring to the maritime industry and the commercial petroleum products. A percentage of what we export, and we're the biggest exporting nation in the world, will be on American ships built to provide them, and along with the sailors and personnel that are necessary. All of the elements that we know have to be available in order to totally rebuild our industrial base and the ships manufacturing, as well as the personnel for those ships, are in the SHIPS Act. It would be foolish of me to say it is complete. It is robust. It covers most of the issues that we know of today. I'm sure others will be found. We must get this done this year. Mr. Chairman, I know you and our Senate colleagues who are the lead on this, together with the almost 160 members of Congress that have signed on, are dedicated to get this done. With that, let's move it forward. I thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and for the ranking members and Mr. Enzel for your help on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Garamendi. I now recognize Mr. Webster.
Thank you, Chairman. Admiral Campbell, after years of delays, the Polar Security Program appears to be on track. So, what do you attribute to that? What kind of factors do you say this made it happen to turn around, to do the turnaround?
Thank you for that question, Congressman. I think it's a host of things. One, our partnership with the Navy as an integrated program management office has gotten stronger over the years. But I would also say, more importantly, is that Bollinger Mississippi acquiring VT Halter and taking over that contract. And while initially it was a little rough to figure out exactly what they got their hands around, working through that and figuring out exactly what was needed to finish that design and get it to a level that we could actually start production. They have taken a lot of very innovative approaches at particularly with working with the type of steel that the Polar Security Cutter is designed with, EQ47. It's a very high-strength steel, but very difficult to work with in the shipbuilding industry. Has to be preheated. And they have taken a lot of initiatives to institute a lot of innovation to be able to work with that metal. We've also invested in some capital expenditures to help the shipyard with some automated welding, robotic welding equipment, as well as cutting tables, which have drastically reduced the labor hours required to build such a large ship. But I think it was a team effort, and I think they are moving in the right direction. As I mentioned earlier, there's already 26 modules that are under construction right now. If you get a chance to come down and visit, I highly recommend it, sir. It's truly impressive, and we are looking forward to the first PSC being delivered by 2030.
Well, there was the Coast Guard has entered into some, I think 11, purchasing 11 Arctic security cutters. 4 of those vessels are going to be done by the Finns, and under the presidential waiver, I guess they get to kind of skip the domestic construction requirements for Coast Guard. How will this unique partnership with that country benefit the United States in domestic shipbuilding?
Congressman, I believe our partnership with Finland and Canada through the ICE Pack has been already beneficial with enhancing our overall knowledge and understanding, particularly of building icebreakers. As you well know, we have not built a heavy icebreaker in the United States in over 50 years, so we're kind of getting back on the horse there. But the Finns have obviously built quite a few icebreakers. They're very familiar with building icebreakers. That's an essential piece of their economy. So I had the opportunity to go visit some of their shipyards and learn from some of their experiences over there. And I think that the U.S. shipbuilding industry does have a lot to learn. And the Arctic Security Cutter provides the first partnership that I believe between Finland and the United States in that regard to start building them in Finland and then move that capacity, more importantly, into the United States to enhance our shipbuilding base.
What missions will these vessels support, and are they capable of doing all polar missions?
Congressman, the Arctic Security Cutter is going to enable the Coast Guard to establish the long overdue and much needed presence in the Arctic region, and eventually we're a program of record. Our identified need is to get up to a total of, I believe, 18 Arctic Security Cutters. These first 11 will be the first step in that direction, but they will allow us to operate, get to a point where we can provide continuous presence in the Arctic to assert our sovereignty, particularly on the northern Arctic shorelines of Alaska, and also to counter the Chinese and Russian fleet that have been operating in that area unencumbered for some time now. And so we look forward to being able to match with them and have our ships side by side when they come into our seas.
Awesome. Are you back?
Gentleman yields back. I just want to remind everyone, we're a maritime nation and we're an Arctic nation, but if we don't act like it, we aren't. So we need to act like that. And with that, I recognize the gentlelady from Maryland, my friend, Miss Elfreth.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank you and the ranking members for having this important, critical hearing. It's one of those challenges I think everybody in this room, including everybody in the audience, agrees this is at a crisis level point after decades and generations of just lack of focus here. So I hope this is the Congress that can